Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show / podcast / whatever we're doing, talking about the NBA. As always, I'm joined tonight by Andrew Combo Salop. Combo, what's going on, my man?
Coach Nick, what's new, man? How are you?
We're on a new platform. I'm very excited, and that what's so exciting about this is that you can actually come on the show and join us with video and audio. So we're no longer going to be having to sit there staring like dummies at the screen while someone else is talking. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am, and there's a lot of NBA to talk about. What is on the top of your head when it comes to the NBA right now?
Well, what's on the top of my head right now is as I'm checking over on my YouTube side, I don't see a stream going. But as far as I know, it's checked and it says it. And, I don't know. Are people out there on the comments? And by the way, the comments could come in here. I can put them on the screen like this. We shouldn't do swear words, though. But anyway, did you see that? That was pretty cool. Are people in the comments, please tell me over on YouTube, can you see this? Because it's not clear to me that we're live. Hello, random person. Hello, are you? Give us a little hit up in the comments. Let us know that you can hear us and see us and everything like that. Because I think we're also on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, and Facebook. But how was your day? And yes, okay, it looks like they can all hear us. So somehow this is streaming somewhere. Although on my side it does not look that way. But hopefully on actually now that I'm wondering what the link that I tweeted out might not work. I might have to delete that. Yeah. So I'm confused, man. The link, whatever we're streaming to, is not to my YouTube page or somewhere. But I better delete that tweet. So Combo, delete that tweet, that retweet if you did. I don't know.
I'll delete it right now.
Although it looks like it's going live on the Twitter side. Anyway, there's a lot of places they can find us. I'm sure we'll figure it out. Maybe in the comments, let me know. It's weird that YouTube is working because it doesn't, everything on my side looks like it's not streaming, but nonetheless. All right, let's get into the conversation. We'll just cut this out later, probably, right?
Sounds good.
We got to talk about the Russell Westbrook experience. I think it's on everyone's mind. It like destroyed my timeline earlier when I quoted him in the post game, whatever he was saying after the 9 turnover game he had. Which, by the way, I want to give is it cap? Is that what you say, or no cap? Cap. Right? What do you do? What do the kids say?
No cap means it's true. Cap means it's not true.
All right. So
cap. So if you say something and I say that's cap, that means it's not true. You get it?
Oh, okay. I want to give the guy some props. That's what I really want to do because he had another game the next night where he doesn't have any turnovers. Did you see how long it's been since he's had a no turnover game?
How long?
Like 6 years, like between games with no turnovers. Now, listen.
Well, when you have his usage, no turnovers is tough though.
I hear you. Right? I hear you. Yeah. So that should be, but 6 years is a long, long time. But I do appreciate that. Like, I think he hears. It's funny. He doesn't want to say it out loud, like what he feels like, or he's not going to take responsibility necessarily, to the press. But he definitely, LeBron had commented that he was angry with himself. He always kind of seems angry anyway. And it looks like he's definitely, he did something to change the way he played. I kind of need to go study, play by play because he didn't shoot that well. But I suspect that he was probably not throwing any passes, really, just like trying to be as safe as possible, which might not be the best way to play either.
What are the changes that you saw?
I mean, I kind of just saw that. Here's the problem. The turnovers that he does make aren't the kind where he's like trying to throw a behind the head, in the air kind of stuff generally, right? A lot of them are just really bad, like losing the ball on a crossover, right? Or charging, or, you know what I mean? So a lot of it ends up being just like being less aggressive, can help obviously limit turnovers if you're not going to do those things. It definitely will limit his game effectiveness, but I think I'd prefer a Russell Westbrook that doesn't turn the ball over more than a couple times a game. I think I'd really prefer a guy who could shoot the 3-ball a little bit and who had a floater and actually finish at the rim better than average. But I guess, I also like a Lamborghini, but I don't think that's happening either.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew coming into the season it was a weird fit, but you want a more timid Russ? That's a little bit, I don't know, like that's not him.
I hear you. The other interesting question about this, the whole way this works is that, like, in theory, if you're going to give me a super chat, and the way I'm looking at this, I'll never know because it doesn't come up that way. But maybe it would. I don't know. We could try it. Nonetheless, I can do this cool thing here. I'm really excited. I don't even know. Let's see. Let's just give a random person. Russ needs to be in an offense where he's literally by himself to be the most effective, in my opinion. That's kind of cool, by the way, that you can put these things up on the screen. And I think we can have it on Facebook and Twitter and everything like else as well, if you depending no matter where you post. What do you think about that? Is it the kind of thing where, because here's my problem, Russ Unleashed or Unlocked isn't necessarily a winning combination anyway. So I don't know if that's the answer where he's not in the right fit necessarily. Well, listen, we know he's not in the right fit the Lakers right now. This is not a fit, right? Would you argue with me on that one?
No, I mean, I never thought it was a fit. I thought he would have to adjust his game and play like that Bruce Brown type role for it to ever be a fit. But I don't think, actually, LeBron's actually taken that role on more than him, which is funny. We're seeing LeBron at center.
Okay.
But,
let's talk about that, because I did a video on that, unlocking LeBron, a little while ago. And it's funny, not a lot of people watched it, or it wasn't like a huge watched one, which I thought was interesting because, we don't often see him willing to play center. I had to tell you,
maybe anything with the word center is not going to be watched.
Oh, okay. Listen, we'll do some YouTube keyword SEO here. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I didn't have it as a title. I just said had the Lakers unlock LeBron. And you got a lot of the great high post touches for him at the elbow, which we'd seen in Miami and we'd seen in Cleveland. And not as much as we are now seeing here in LA. And he's getting just all that awesome backdoor stuff. They had this one specific play that I showed, and then they were breaking it down on the Laker postgame show on Spectrum the other night, where it's a pinch post action to the LeBron side, but on the weak side, the other guard is curling around a back screen for a layup, and he just kind of fires that pass around his man. It's beautiful. I can't get enough of that. I wish they do that all the time.
Yeah, they need more ball movement, but at least Malik Monk is stepping up. He almost looks like the Lakers' second best player right now with AD out.
Malik Monk is doing what we've seen him do in flashes across his whole career, and it took him a while. I think it probably took him a while just to kind of feel comfortable, right? Like, you can't really play, especially when you're a role player. You got to have, and I hate to use the word competence, but it's like a rhythm, right? And a comfortableness around those guys. I think he was walking on eggshells for a while. He's got Russ, he's got Melo, he's got LeBron. Everyone, doesn't want to make a mistake. But it looks now like, he's just playing a little bit more free and getting those opportunities, and they're looking for him now. So, when he can shoot the ball a little bit, it's really important. You need as many shooters as possible. And it's almost like the Lakers front office didn't realize that or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're not the same Melo and Russ. And I mean, these players are a lot older, so the names are big, but the game is not what it used to be for some of them. So, I mean, that's a huge issue as well. But you need young players. The Lakers are lacking young legs. They're lacking defense, and they're lacking shooting. And then the fit with Russ is bad. I mean, it's interesting. Like, they're struggling with the Kings, and then LeBron takes over fourth quarter, but they're acting like, and they should act like this, that they're winning playoff games. I mean, I'm glad they're into it, but it's just kind of interesting how hard they have to go to beat some of these teams like the Kings,
Yeah, and that's right. It's a struggle with every team. It doesn't matter how good or how bad the team is they're playing. It's a struggle, which is why you think, okay, this is not a team that's going to go deep, but they did beat Memphis, right?
Yes.
That's the game I was thinking about. Yeah, they beat Memphis. I think it's in Memphis without AD. Memphis is the hottest. We're going to get to them in a second. They're the second hottest team in the league right now. That's a big win for them. Even though, remind me, I know it fell apart at the end. Russ was terrible. Like, they wanted to give the ball away and get the whole game away, and so did Memphis.
Sorry, they lost. They lost the Grizzlies, Coach Nick.
They lost. Okay, wait. They won.
They lost.
They beat another team just recently. They won a bunch of games in a row. The Lakers.
Well, they killed the Trailblazers.
But it wasn't the Trailblazers. Let me see. The Lakers. Let me look at their schedule real quick. Who am I thinking about then? They've won 3 in a row. It must have been Minnesota. Forgive me. It must have been Minnesota. That must have been the game. No, it wasn't. They lost to Memphis. Gosh, I don't know what I'm thinking. I was just tweeting about it too the other day, where it was like they had beaten the team, and if AD comes back, then they'll be a lot more solid, which they will be, but AD is not giving them any spacing at this point, and I don't think this year is going to change.
That's right. I mean, if AD shoots better, their record might look totally different right now.
Right, exactly. If he, and you know, and he's not been shooting well at all. Here's what I'm going to do, by the way. If you want to join the show and ask questions directly to us with video, I'm going to give you the link in this comment, and hopefully that works because I don't know. There it is. Do you guys see the comment there I just posted? There's a link, and is the link active? You got to have. You need to have Chrome. So if you don't have Chrome, I don't know what you're going to do. But we'd like to hear from you as well because
Chrome is
I want to
recommended.
test this whole thing out. What's
that?
Know
if they need Chrome. Chrome is recommended. I don't know if they
recommended.
need Chrome.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so you don't necessarily need it, but I'm anxious to find out how this whole thing works, and we're going to push this this platform to its limits tonight. I know someone out there is going to want to ask us a question and chop it up with us for a minute or two. So hit that button. Hopefully, I'll figure out where you appear for me to let you in, because that's another interesting question. But nonetheless. So the Lakers, again, like, I keep getting burned when I pick against them because, a guy like LeBron just, dominates like he always dominates. AD comes through somehow. You didn't see a lot of the evidence in the regular season, and then poof, there they are. But it still feels different this year to me, right? How about to you?
Which team?
The Lakers.
Yeah, it feels totally different. I mean, look, you let Caruso go, right? They could have kept him. And Kuzma is obviously playing great on another team right now.
Yeah.
KCP, I know that wasn't last year, but you're kind of letting young legs go that could defend, and some of those guys could even shoot the basketball for, older players that can defend as well. And some of them aren't shooting it great right now. But Melo's really playing good on the offensive side, which is, a good sign. And there are some numbers saying that, like, when AD, Russ, and LeBron all play together, they're pretty good, but it is a small sample size.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, shout out to Melo. He had a shot fake, one dribble pull up from 18 or something.
He had two one-leggers last night, I think, in the mid range
for three.
No,
mid range.
Mid-range.
Okay, because my whole thing about the one-legged 3-pointer, right?
You like that, huh? DeMar just hit a game winner like that. That was crazy.
Yeah, I did a whole video on it, and I've done videos before on that actual play. I think we need to teach it. I think it makes a. Yeah,
I think it's easier to get from just my experience of playing. I think it's a really easy way to get like nice energy transfer on that.
Absolutely, it makes a long 25-foot shot easier, and that should be what you want to do. And I was actually, and I don't play anymore. I was going to my left, lifting off my left foot, and then drifting on a three on a one-footed shot, and I had no problem keeping it straight. I was still, I'm just old and I don't have good lift anymore, but so it's short sometimes, but I was getting it straight on every single time. So there's all these different kind of ways you can use it, especially coming off a pick and roll on a really high pick and roll where you can just lift off of that 1 foot and it's like a runner from back there. For me, I love it. And I think we should teach it, and it looked beautiful for DeMar DeRozan. And then there's actually a guy who does it in Europe who I think is going to come on the show. He said he was going to come on. I was IG Instagramming, messaging him, whatever we call that on IG. I'll tell you what his name is. Where's the messages on IG? Dentman, Justin Dentman. Have you ever seen him or heard about him?
I think he's played in Israel before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he's played all over the place, and he does a one-legged shot like multiple times a game. So I'm telling you, it's a thing. But just to get back to the Melo thing, it was great. The funny thing is I just saw somebody else do it. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember.
DeMar, we talked about it.
No. I'm talking about like a shot fake, one dribble pull up inside the 3-point line. Because then what's his Melo did have a shot fake,
right?
Shot fake, stay in place, wait behind the three, and then shoot that and nail it. But we almost never see that. Wiggins did one tonight before the game started. But it wasn't. It was like a closer in shot. But
what do you mean? Just a 3-point pump fake into a mid-range jumper?
Yeah.
You're saying that they don't teach that anymore because the analytics they rather you sidestep.
Well, we just never see it. Period. And so whether or not they're teaching it or not, like in the NBA, you almost never see that. So I was like, you're never going to see that for a week. And sure enough, the next night, I just saw somebody who's younger do it. I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. But again, it's a shout out to him for taking us through the museum of extinct shots and letting us enjoy that. But we have a couple people that want to come on the show. Are you ready, Combo?
Yes, sir. Let's get it done.
Right. It says, we got Young Jay Hio. Let's see how this works. All right. So I press that button. There he comes. Maybe we'll change the there. That looks better, doesn't it? Let's see here.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going? Did I say your name right?
Yeah, you said it right. Actually, I only watched like the last minute of the show, so I'm just listen. I'll leave if it doesn't fit, but you just want opinion about does Russ need to go, right?
Yeah, throw it out there. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, first of all, I have a big problem with the way the media covers Russ, right? Because the media always tries to tell me that Russ is like the hardest player ever, like he plays so hard, but like realistically, honestly, I feel like he's kind of a lazy player. Like, does anybody else agree? Like, he only works hard at the fun parts of basketball. And honestly, I wouldn't give a guy credit in high school for only trying hard in like gym class or something, right?
Whoa. Oh, yeah. Well, listen, if you want to talk about defense, he doesn't try very hard there. He'll walk around,
Well,
he
he
gets
doesn't
lost.
try any hard at defense, but also isn't effort part about trying hard to be mindful and being precise and having some sort of like uh is this the right
Goal.
way? Like meticulousness about your actions?
Yeah,
But he
playing
doesn't
with
show
purpose.
effort in any of those things.
I agree. What do you think, Combo?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he has to do a better job of playing off the ball, but some of that is just their system. I don't know if they're implementing that, but he needs to be a screener, he needs to be a cutter, and I've been saying this for a long time. So he doesn't really have a lot of effort when he's off the basketball.
And
Right.
as for does Russ have to go? I think if you want to win a championship, like if you want to be the best team in the league, yeah, Russ has to go. I mean, Russ is not a bad player, but if you have championship
Where would he go?
aspirations,
Where would he go, and who would trade for him?
oh, you can't move him. He's unmovable. He needs to
You
go,
know,
but you just can't.
We've had players in the past that have been unmovable, and then next thing you know, they get moved. But it's hard to imagine he's making 40 million plus.
Only like a poverty franchise would take that player.
Right. Well, it's
With
like
that
Simmons.
contract.
That would be the
you
deal,
don't,
right?
You don't think the Knicks would take Russ?
I mean, if they hate themselves, maybe, yeah.
No, that's the kind of deal the Knicks would do. But like, what are they going to send back? And they, those salaries.
Honestly,
like that.
I mean, maybe I'm personally biased because I was telling everybody, all my friends, like when Buddy Hield got drafted, like he's a pretty solid player. Like I think he's gonna be really good. But I was really excited for the Lakers when they got Buddy Hield, and I don't know if there's anything they could do right now, but I just really wish they had Buddy Hield right now. Like I think their team would be pretty good with Buddy Hield.
Oh yeah,
that's all in hindsight, but I think you're correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about fit because, if you want the names, I get it. They wanted to get Russ. But I think what happened was, and I'm just conjecturing here, but they announced the trade for Buddy because maybe we all forgot. That was a deal that was like announced, like ready to be made. I think that Russ picked up the phone and said to LeBron, like, dude, you told me like we were supposed to play together. Well, LeBron then gets his phone and says, we're not doing that deal. You got to get Russ in here. And then they scramble within a day and a half to put together a deal. And subsequently handed Washington a much more decent team than they ever were before, and created a fit that doesn't work. Because I agree, Buddy Hield would be a much better fit.
So I think their reasoning for that was, and LeBron's reasoning for that is that LeBron could load manage while Russ could kind of raise the floor of the team and carry a lot of that load in the regular season, and LeBron could pick back up in the playoffs. Like, I guess he thought that Buddy Hield's not a guy that could actually carry a basketball team, and he felt like Russ could.
Right. And I can kind of see where he's coming from. But as a fan, I've sometimes felt like Russ actually hurts his team sometimes more than he helps his team. And, like, I mean, I saw it sometimes with KD. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I just felt like the team, like, it might be easier for KD if he wasn't there sometimes.
Now, let me ask you this, because you're talking about load management, right? This is what Russ is supposed to help,
Hey, by the way, Coach Nick, one thing. LeBron's been load managing at tip-off. He doesn't even jump anymore.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I got away. Oh, really? I didn't see that. No, but here's the thing. We like to think, okay, LeBron is he's supposed to be load managing to give Russ more run so he can rest. Do you know how many minutes LeBron is averaging this year?
How many?
37 minutes a game. Which I guarantee you, let's go look at his career. This has got to be a high water mark for him. He hasn't played 37 minutes a game since.
He might have played 38 1 year with the Cavs, I think.
He did 38 in 2016-17 at age 32. He's playing 37 minutes. And by the way, if we do the game logs, I bet you, I've been looking at this earlier. He was hitting 40. Like, let's see. Here's the last several games. 39, basically 40 minutes, 39 minutes, 38 minutes. 30 in a big blowout, 39, 36 and a half. Like, this is ridiculous. It's January, and whatever load management they're talking about is not happening at all. So I got to be really concerned because LeBron already looks, like he is closer to the end of his career than his beginning, even though he's filling up.
Do you really think so, Coach Nick? Do you think he looks like he's?
I mean, there's evidence, but like, so what? The guy's 37. Of course there is, but he doesn't. His lift is not there as much as
I still see some like he's moving well for a guy who's 6'9" and however he weighs. I mean, he has some burst left.
Right. Well, listen, Young Jay, we got to go. We got a couple other people want to come on, but I can't. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This is awesome.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
You got it. Talk to you.
Thank you.
All right. He hung up because I don't know how to hang anybody else up. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Let's bring on Martin and see what Martin has to say. Are you there, Martin?
What's up, Coach?
Hey, what's going on? So you don't want you want to be no video today, huh?
No.
No worries. It's at least it's nice to have a little something there so that Combo and I are not just sort of staring into space listening. But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Do you think the Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert for Russell Westbrook would be a good trade, or
Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert for Russell Westbrook?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, because now remember, Combo, Indiana is going to go into a fire sale supposedly, which is interesting because why do they bring Rick Carlisle in if that's what they want to do? But Brogdon and LeVert. Listen, LeVert, it looks terrific. I watched him the other night, and I watched whatever Indiana was playing, and he looks great, I thought. That would certainly help the Lakers. I don't know if Indiana. I don't know why Indiana want to take on Russ. That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think they want Russ playing right now. Like, what, they would just sit him? Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're trying to tank, and Russ actually could lead you to some wins. You know, as we just talked about that LeBron thought. You know,
right? And what was I going to say?
And LeBron's gonna have the basketball a lot, so those guys aren't really spacers. Those guys aren't really off-ball spacers. You know,
right?
Karis LeVert's like a high usage guy.
Yeah, that's true too. Although I feel like he might be able to handle that a little bit better than others, but and certainly Brogdon should be able to.
Brogdon,
but that's
I love both their games actually. Yeah,
they're
both really good players.
By the way, guess what? Super chats do work in here. They do appear. I just saw 2 of them, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that to go on the screen though. That's what I want to have. Come on, but we'll get to that in a second. But Martin, let's finish that up. So I just don't see why. Here's the thing: Indiana would need a pick. And I don't know. I got to find out the Lakers pick situations, but they would need a first-round pick at minimum to do anything like that and take on that much salary. But did you look at the numbers, Martin? Do LeVert and Brogdon's salaries kind of close to match Russell Westbrook's salary?
As of right now, they cannot trade Brogdon.
Oh,
because he's like in a contract extension or something.
Oh, okay.
So
well, there you
they'll
go.
Be able to trade him like in a couple months.
Oh, right. Before the trade deadline's happening before then. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it's happening. I think we're already up against the gun here. You know, the deadline's going to be in like a month. I just don't think Russ is going anywhere at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. What moves do you think the Lakers should make?
Combo, what do you think?
They need guys who could defend. They need guys who could shoot it. So who's out there? Let me think. You know who I can think could help a lot of teams? Tyrese Halliburton. I think he could help. He's a young player. I think he could help the Celtics big time, the Sixers big time, because he's a connective piece. And why not? He's a guy that can play off the ball. Why not the Lakers? But I think, it's gonna. Who could? Oh, Eric Gordon could help them.
You know, I was thinking about Eric Gordon, like even at the end of last year, like with the Warriors. I'm like, gosh, he should just go there and just stand back behind the line and
why not?
You know, catapult that shot off his shoulder. Eric Gordon, I watched a game. Listen, it's not easy to watch Houston, but I watched a game, you know, whatever that was a week or 2 ago. And he looked good. He looked like Aaron Gordon. And so I agree. I think he would help with the contender for sure. By the way,
and on top of that, he shouldn't be in Houston anymore. Like, that's no place for Eric Gordon right now, you know?
And by the way, Houston would never take Russ, obviously, back. But here's what they would do. They would cut him, and then the Lakers would sign him. Like, that's something that they would do. It's probably all sorts of collusion and illegal, whatever, and these rich get richer. But, you know, I feel like that might end up being someone's going to get bought out like that, and then the Lakers are going to snack them up or snatch them up, whatever the term is. So I think that's the only hope the Lakers probably have is to find some in the buyout market, you know, some veteran that can still help them.
Yeah, I mean, is John Wall an option? That's another guy who needs the basketball though, so that doesn't fit too well.
And he doesn't shoot it. It doesn't defend like that. So I mean, he defends a little bit, but not like what they need. So now, you know, you already saw there was maybe some movement with that. Like Rondo goes Gosh, he just cleared. Where did he go?
Cleveland.
Cleveland, right?
Yeah, because Rubio got hurt.
Yeah. So that could be a prelude to something as they're kind of shifting rosters and moving some things around. But again, I can't imagine putting a package together with Russ. I just don't see how the numbers work.
I like Daniel House as well, but I think somebody just signed him.
Yeah.
I think he probably could have helped the Lakers.
Yeah. No, you're right. Daniel, well, I mean, he's inconsistent, but there are, we've seen, evidence of him being terrific. So
he could defend and he could shoot. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Did that answer your question, Martin?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I think we got somebody else who wants to come on, but thank you so much for
Martin.
joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I love you.
Oh, love you too. Josiah, it looks like your mic is not connected. You have to press a button and whatever, and then you can come on the show. It looks like he wants to come on, but there's something, whatever. So if you can figure that out, we'll bring you in. But we have some super chats, and before they go away, let's see. I wonder if I can find Brian B. Let's do who was first? No, sorry. Brian B did two of them, and it was incredibly generous. My goodness, thank you. So let's make sure we get some love here. But let me see if I can find Brian B if I do a search. Oh, I don't want that one on there yet. Hang on. Does this work? Can I search? Yeah, this should work. So Brian, darn it. I don't know. That's the thing they got to change. They got to be able to add a button where I can then put this on the screen, because I would love to do that for super chatters. But his first one was, Westbrook is very overrated and a poor finisher and makes too many low IQ plays. And but other than that, he's perfect. And is overpaid for his actual skill level, which makes him untradeable. Longtime fan and coach, you've been politely saying this for years. So thank you, Brian. Again, way too generous here. Now there's another super chat. Wait, let's see. The third one just appeared. I wonder where it went. Oh well. Then he did another one. I looked at the same guy, I think, right? Same Brian B. Yeah. Russ has good attributes, but his negatives are so demoralizing and detrimental, it overpowers his good traits. He is a bench level talent overall. Okay, so I'm not actually asking for apologies from people that had screamed and yelled at me and been awful to me for a long time. But I have been saying this about Russ forever. Okay, there is a skill deficit there. He's overwhelming athletically, and he can just take your breath away with highlights at times. But he's always done these kind of turnovers. He's always missed these kind of shots. He's never finished that well at the rim. This is not new. And he
was a better mid-range shooter at one point.
I think he was okay. I think he was better, but even then, okay, great. You want to be the best mid-range shooter in the league? Fine. You're going to do that 3 times a game, 4 times a game. All right. You know what I mean? Decision making has always been bad. Is passing also in terms of, and you know this as well better than I do, Combo, as far as the accuracy and timing of passes is really important for guys coming off screens. He's never been good at that. They're always kind of late. Yeah. They don't come in on time, and the guys have to wait, or they curl too far before they get it. They miss.
Yeah, that's not conducive to flow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I've always had an issue with him, and people want to say I'm a hater or I'm obsessed or whatever, but it's just the sheer volume of bad plays that he makes, which, get balanced out by the good stuff sometimes. It's just hard to ignore it from a coaching standpoint. It's just really frustrating to watch. And I think finally some people were able to figure this out and stop yelling at me about it and kind of shrug and be like, oh, okay, I see it now.
So this is all about you, Coach Nick. This is all about you.
It is. It's always about me. And so I think it's magnified playing in LA, playing alongside LeBron. But LeBron's been pretty reserved. I was expecting at this point, with some of the things he does, a blow up where you'd see him, have some testiness toward him. And so far, it's been pretty civil, I think.
Well, maybe he knew what he was getting himself into with some of this stuff. And maybe he has an optimistic view on it, and he thinks he could turn things around in the long run with a healthy AD coming back.
Yeah, I mean, listen, AD will cure a lot of ills. He can do some things defensively. He's certainly really a beast on offense when they get him in the right spots. He's not shooting threes. And so, yeah, I mean, and amidst all of this, they're still in the mix a little bit, and it can make a bit of a run. But they have to be careful because, obviously Phoenix is playing well. The Warriors are playing is better than anybody I've seen this year. Memphis is now playing absolutely terrific basketball. And if they really start to believe and get the glow, then they get the 3rd spot in the Western Conference and are, going to be almost impossible to beat at home.
Yeah, just to stay with the Lakers for 1 second, even before the season, I said this on my podcast or maybe on another podcast, the 2 keys for the Lakers were AD shooting and how Russ fits in. And that didn't go well for the first half of the season, or however far we are in this season. So, those two things have to get better. And obviously the defense hasn't been great as well. I mean, to put a bow on this Lakers talk, but it's definitely great to see what Memphis is doing, because you talk about athletic point guards like Russ was, but Ja is like, he is an elite athlete, and he has an elite feel for the game as well, which is such a great combination.
Oh, for sure. If you notice, I put Ja. I replaced Dame back there, and I put Ja up there. I probably should put Dirk or somebody instead of Steph. We'll keep Steph up there for a little while longer. But by the way, do you know who it is right over my shoulder? Who's doing the Sham God? Can you see that?
Who is that?
It's Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh,
doing the Sham God. I love it.
nice.
It could be sacrilegious, but I don't know. But wait, Josiah, where did you go? I was about to bring you in. Let's see if he's going to hear. He got it straightened up. Oh, and we even have video. I'm really excited about this. Let's
Hey, Coach.
change it this way so it looks better. But Josiah, thank you for coming on the show and being part of the video tonight. Great to have you. What's happening? Uh-oh. Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Are you muted?
No, I think
Okay.
I was just laggy.
Okay. What's happening?
I'm glad to be a part of the conversation.
I'm in.
Yeah, yep. I have two questions I kind of want to ask you. One is with the one-footed pull-up, like it's more off the dribble, like you'd say, and I was just wondering how would that work in the NBA corner, because it's very short. Like I could see that like it could not work, but also wouldn't you have to be doing it off the dribble and then kind of like go at the rim? So that would mean it's like kind of like a step back for a right-handed player.
Yeah.
In that
Now,
same
okay.
sense.
Yeah. Now you could be driving like along the sideline, right? And then kind of go one twist in the air if you're going on the right side. If you're a righty, that's a pretty tough shot. And then there's not a lot of room to do it. But you could do that. That'd be wacky. And by the way, the reason why we don't do that is because shooting off the dribble is still so new, right? We've been doing catch and shoot forever. So it's like that's been a developed skill, whereas we're still going to come up with new ways to be able to shoot off the dribble. But here's the thing. There is a guy in Europe that I've seen that shoots one-footed threes standstill without dribbling. Not not quite a catch and shoot, but he'll have it, and he'll kind of lift off 1 foot and then shoot it. I'm intrigued. I don't know if I like it, but I'm intrigued. But certainly you could probably make an argument for going to your left if you're a righty, because now your right side is more in line with the basket. You might be able to do that to the corner and actually get a decent shot. I was telling Combo before, I was doing that on the wing and going off my left foot because my right foot has my hip replacement. And we lost Josiah for a second there. I think what happened with Josiah was he logged on twice, and that was the lag. Maybe we'll get him back in here in a second. So anyway, let's see if I do that. All right, you're back. Are you back? Josiah, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, cool. Anyway, so I think you could kind of do it that way too. If you went, I would say the left corner for righty might actually be viable because you're already aligned to the basket. Combo, do you think I'm insane or what?
I wouldn't take that shot in the corner. When I've actually took it before, not in real games, more in pickup.
Yeah,
to be honest. But it would mostly be from the wing, coming down in transition. I never really tried one from the corner.
I do have a little point to make, is that there's like a different footwork instead of like the 1-2 and the boost step.
Okay, I'm really curious, but you broke up on us. Uh-oh.
Instead of the like boost step, you kind of do a side like 1-2, and that was like
what
something that was on like some technique video, and it showed some NBA players implementing that. And so that might be an
James
alternative.
Harden worked at that.
Just to go
James Harden
like
was working on that in one
side
right?
step almost into it.
Off 1 foot? Wow, a lot of lag. Off of 1 foot side step, is that what you're saying? Combo, what is it? I think is what he's saying.
I think so. And I think James Harden was working on that one summer. Like he was playing in those Rico Hines runs.
And like behind the back, was he doing that part of it too?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, no, all of that stuff is viable. I'm telling you, you get some separation, you get rhythm.
You get rhythm.
What I was shooting, what I prefer was going straight at the basket and just using that momentum. But when you that leg drive up, the one leg driving up like a layup, and then jumping off 1 foot. There's something there that gives you that more lift. I'm telling you, man. We need to figure
It makes
that out.
that shot effortless. I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
totally. Well, we have
Yeah.
another one. Restorative Gaming wants to come on in. Let's add him to the show. How's it going, my man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Great. So I'm playing with a new toy and excited to have people on the YouTube side who can join us video wise. This is awesome.
Yeah. So watching the Lakers, you guys were talking about all the possibilities coming up and the difficulties they've had and whatnot, but I just thought the upside of watching Stanley Johnson and everything that he has brought to that team has been phenomenal for them.
Phenomenal. Go on.
He seems to fill roles and do things that they need around LeBron in ways that they expected somebody like Trevor Ariza to be able to do.
Okay. I mean, I think he's been okay. You know, I'm just kind of wanting to see what he's doing right now. So Stanley Johnson, in 25 minutes a game, he played 3 games so far. He is, averaging almost 7 points a game, shooting 46%, and let's see, is he taking threes? He's taking three threes a game, 25%. So, not bad.
They've been asking him to play big. They've been asking him to play way bigger than he has, and he's done a really good job of it.
I in my mind's eye, I'm picturing him guarding somebody who was big, and they went right at him, and he just scored. Like it was maybe a Minnesota game I was watching, right? Was that what it was?
Sometimes that happens.
And it wasn't Cat because Cat wasn't playing. Oh, it might have been the guy who played Howell's points. Oh my goodness, who was it? Anyway,
Naz Reid.
Yeah, Naz Reid. And that's not fair to Stanley Johnson. The dude's 6'4.5" or whatever, right? So it's not fair. So. Yeah. So listen, to me, it's a nice story. He's come back from like the abyss of like being, out of the league when he was, a higher draft pick and you thought he'd be doing better. So all that is good. I just feel like he's still over his head to some degree. And but I take it what you're thinking is there are signs where he can become viable and he could be like a good,
Yeah. And he's coming in on like a 10-day contract. Yeah. He's found gold, right? Like, I mean, they were literally replacing players that, were in protocol. And so the fact that he could produce anything reliable for them or anything that was good or fit their plan seems pretty lucky.
Right. And that is how desperate they are, right? With all the COVID and all the different stuff, it's like they needed to find a guy who, who could give them some minutes. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I was waiting for the storyline of, like Isaiah Thomas or somebody else who just gets a 10-day because of the COVID stuff and then just detonates and becomes a starter, right? That has not happened yet, but like how amazing would that be for a story?
Yeah, I was really hoping for that whenever I saw IT, but that's also, I'm sure it'll happen this year at some point with all the protocol stuff that's going on, but I would be surprised if it happened on a team with like the Lakers with Russ and LeBron and whatnot. It'd be more likely to happen on a team that doesn't really have so many go-to guys,
Yeah. By the way, who really benefited from all this is Austin Reeves. I didn't think he was an NBA player. I got to tell you, I'm like, this guy is just getting some minutes because of Ariza and all the other guys were out and none. But that dude can pass, man, and he can kind of like drive. Like he's been shocking me every game I watch. Like because I've been I hate to give him like the Caruso thing because just because they look the same, or whatever. But Caruso for a while I wasn't convinced that he was an NBA player, and he really wasn't. It took him a year or two to get acclimated or whatever. But this guy, man, I don't know. He looks like he's legit, right?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. I fell in love with Caruso watching Caruso play for the Lakers. I've been on that train forever. But part of my reason that I loved Caruso was it always felt like he was in the right spot at the right time and came up with these saves and these extra effort plays. And Reeves has a lot of that same feel.
Yeah, he does. And he's got, and he makes passes too. I mean, I'm telling you, like no look and like he sees the floor. You kind of think, oh my God, he's overwhelmed. Everyone's too big and whatever. And next thing you know, he's like, oh, and throws it. It's like, whoa. So I'm anxious to see how that plays out. He won a game for them, right? The other like a month ago, or whatever.
Yeah, the big time 3-point shot.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes out as players get a little bit more used to them. But like I could do a video on him, then I get worried because here's what happens: like you show somebody a thing the guy's doing really well, and all of a sudden the league just shuts that down, right? Then I feel bad. Like like I had who did I have? Zeke Naji was on the show, and he was shooting like 56% from 3, I don't know if you saw that video a few weeks ago. And I
I
said
did.
this in the show. I'm like, listen, I hope you don't get mad at me, but like, I think people are going to start to realize this, and you're not going to be as open. So are you prepared for that? And you know, he's obviously not shooting 55% anymore, and they've been closing out a lot harder on those shots. So we'll see how that goes with a guy like Austin Reeves now. But nonetheless, it's good to see. But I am still waiting. I'm waiting for that Hollywood movie where the guy who was like a bartender somewhere gets a 10-day and starts dunking all over everybody. That would be amazing.
The other one I wanted to ask about was, do you have thoughts on DeRozan and how he's been playing like a monster lately?
Well, you know, I was looking at this because DeRozan is clearly the man, right? The pecking order, the whatever it is. And I get to watch like Zach LaVine and that whole crew play in the summers. And so I was over them for a couple different days this summer. And, you know, in that crew of all Drew Hanlon's guys, you know, it's Zach LaVine, it's Bradley Beal, it's oh my goodness. Well, MB doesn't play I didn't see him play in those games, but he's part of that. Tatum is in there, and then everybody else. Dennis Smith Jr. was playing, and it was clear like that LaVine, in my mind, in that setting was like he was the man, and they all had to defer to him. But now when you watch like DeRozan come in there and do that, because I thought for sure LaVine would assume that. No way. To me, I get that total feeling that this is my team, and I'm going to be the guy. They're both scoring the same, 27 a game, whatever it is, right? But it's not the same kind of play, and I can't believe it. But I've been trying to spotlight DeMar and, more importantly, his passing for the last couple of years. That's what's been a revelation. It's what makes the Bulls really fun to watch. So I did a video on this. I told everybody they were going to be really good. And all I did was hear for the first, 6 weeks of the season, are the Bulls going to be good? Are they going to be good? Are anybody sure about this? I'm like, yeah, they're going to be really good. They're going to be third in the conference. They're first right now, I think, right? Or they were tied for first the other day. And DeRozan is the huge part of that.
You know what I was thinking about, Coach Nick? You know how Steph Curry threw a different look at the league by shooting so many threes?
Mm-hmm.
And now defenses are geared towards three-point shooters. Maybe DeMar is that tipping point where he's throwing a new look at the league. And as everybody's defending the three-point line at such a high level, he's just, getting it done in the mid-range where it's harder to defend. I mean, there's so much drop coverage now and different kinds of defenses that aren't really guarding that mid-range area,
What do you think?
He's also become that closer. And I think part of that is that style where he gets to that mid-range spot. It seems like a lot of the NBA teams who have that real closer guy, whether it's Kawhi or DeMar or LeBron, they seem to be these not three-point dominant guys on most teams. They seem to be that mid-range player that has a spot, gets to it, and makes their shot consistently there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in the playoffs, as much as anybody wants to say the mid-range is dead, it's more the mid-range spot-up shot is dead, not really your best player getting to the mid-range and creating for himself, especially in, end-of-game situations and when the shot clock is going down. It's so very important in today's NBA.
That's actually another great point that you say that, because you're right. It's like no one catches and shoots in the mid range, and that's right. For sure. But you're right. The generation in that area, which when they've taken away the 3-point shot and they've taken away the rim, is very viable. And we've seen that it's not just like the Booker players and the CP3s and those guys. It's a lot of other players too. So like we said in the beginning of the show, I had predicted that when we saw what's his face Melo shot fake wonderful pull up, that we won't see another one of those shots for a whole week in the NBA. And then sure enough, I see the next game I saw somebody do it. So it is there. It is, I guess. I don't know. I get my coaching spidey sense always goes off on those 17 footers now. It's like it just doesn't seem like a good shot anymore at all. 17, 18 feet. It's like get behind that line or get the floater or get the shot at the rim. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it at that point. Those 2 points aren't worth it when you're shooting like the 18-footer.
I feel like the floater is a polarizing topic. Me personally, I love the floater. But
I think you have to have it. I mean, right? I mean, either way. Haven't we gotten past that part of the argument? Like, because I know we used to argue, you just pull up for a jump shot, but
no, you can't. I mean, there's not everybody's Durant. Like Durant could pull up for a jump shot whenever he wants, and he does really close to the basket. But smaller players get it off quicker when they have that floater, and I think it's really important. It gives you more options, and it also could create layups for yourself when you have to push up on a guy who has that floater option, and then you could get all the way to the rim.
Yeah, for sure. But I remember it wasn't that long ago where we were having this argument about the floater itself. I mean, Mike Conley shoots this right-handed floater that I think needs to just be, banned forever. And I can't stand watching him do it. Although and by the way, everyone says, oh, it's his really good shot. But then I did a video years ago when I was able to parse the right versus the left, and it was not a good shot. It was much lower than his standard for left. And standard for the NBA. So, but that's another weird thing. I had a really lefty dominant player, a little guard, kind of just like Conley, and he did the same thing with the right-handed floaters too in the high school level. And I was like, what is going on here? Is there some weird lefty thing where they all shoot right-handed
Hey,
floaters?
Coach Nick, that's crazy you say that because I'm a lefty and I shot way more right-handed floaters in my life than left-handed floaters. So there is something to it.
Like there's some the guy is demonstrating it in the beginning, and he's probably demonstrating it righty, and then you're just gonna.
I don't know. I practiced them pretty equally, I thought I did a pretty good job of balancing my practice when it came to left-handed and right-handed floaters, but the right-handed floater seemed to have more touch to it for some reason. I don't know why.
That's actually something I wanted to talk about. I've talked about with a bunch of my friends recently. Being a lefty growing up in a world dominated by right-handed players and right-handed coaches, it seems like every layup line is right-handed layups. Every first starting drill is running right circles, so you're running to the left every time you get to the basket, and it just seems like this is such a common drill that as kids you're left-handed, it doesn't matter, you're doing right-handed layups and they're telling you to use your correct hand, and you don't actually cultivate your left hand nearly the same way in practice that you do until you're older. And so I always wondered if, and I've argued with my friends several times, is it that they naturally develop the right hand because it's necessary, or is it just they're more exposed to using their offhand because that's the world they live in?
I think that's very valid, certainly, and it's actually too bad. Like they deserve more developing of their strong hand, in theory. I know that when I was as a righty, I worked so hard on my left hand layup that I ended up being much better at my left hand layup. Like I would miss righty layups. That's how much I did only left. And then at some point in my sophomore year in high school, I had a lefty hook, so I didn't have a floater, but I would come across the lane and I could hook it. Like a
but
running.
That's interesting. That's a touch shot.
My freaking coach, who was like a baseball coach, who was like filling in that year, like told me it's like forbade me from shooting it, and I just stopped doing it, and I never had it again. And I can't believe that I listened to that because it really I could do it across the middle from the dotted line, or I could do it from the right block, out by the baseline. I was an awesome lefty, and I'd be drifting to the baseline, and I could be kind of flipping it up over my head. And I to this day, like I can't believe I listened to that and lost it. That's another one of those great shots.
But I think part of that is the touch, right? Like you were just talking about how that's a touch shot. Like these floaters and like hooks or these kind of like hierarching push shots from the lane and stuff. Mm-hmm. These things, I think one of the things that gets overlooked about them is they come off the rim softly. So when you're developing the attention of the big to come over as a shot blocker and you pull him off, if you can leave a soft ball up on the rim, it's so easy for somebody to follow it up from your team.
Absolutely. No, I know. And then touch is one of those things where no one really knows how to teach touch, right? It's kind of a hard thing where either people you have it or you don't. Kind of like when you mentioned with Caruso always being in the right spot at the right time. Can you teach that? It's an interesting question where I think most coaches don't know how to teach it. They kind of shrug and say, "Oh, he just has it." But I think we can teach a lot of this stuff. Then the next question is like, you always have a player in your team or whatever who like is a willing passer, who wants to throw the crazy passes, right? And it's like, what about his makeup and psychological, approach to the game makes him that way and other guys not? And can we, reverse engineer that? So many things we need to really look at and figure out whether or not it's personal trait that comes out or we can train it.
I actually have a theory on that. Yeah. As a basketball player, I was always the guy that wanted to throw the bigger pass, the more complex pass, or the more impressive pass. And as a board gamer, I'm always the guy that wants to like sacrifice my own stuff for the group in a cooperative game. And as like a MOBA player, I'm always the support player who wants to like help my damage carry with the biggest play. And I think part of that is I played a lot with my friends early on where we played group cooperative games. And when we won as a team, it was a huge celebration. Whenever we had a pair that did something so cool, we were both celebrating about it. And it wasn't so much, oh my gosh, you did something, celebrate your accomplishment. It was, we did something, celebrate that accomplishment. And I think that a lot of that gets lost on some of the kids that, like, I watch growing up with my kids and stuff now about the celebrating for other people. It's more celebrate for myself, or they celebrate for them, but we're accomplishing things individually.
That's actually really fascinating because that ties in with what I've been looking at. I've been helping a old buddy of mine coach his AAU team in the Valley in LA, and there's no culture of celebrating the good plays by the team. And like I remember when if somebody dunked in a practice, like when I was playing, even though I had guys who could dunk easily, like it was still a huge deal. We'd freak out or whatever. Now it's like a little bit more common, so it's like everyone wants to be cool. But you hear, what do they say? You hear all the kids say, "Hey," right? Like that's all the NBA guys do whenever a good play makes. So I've literally had to try and begin training them whenever we make like a three in our drills, whatever, to say, "Hey," and it's not natural. They forget to do it. We get in these games where they're playing, it's basically pickup because we're practicing like once a week. It's not like they have a lot of intricate offense, and nothing can build on itself. No good play becomes another good play because the bench is just sitting there staring, and the players in the team are on the court are just staring. It's a really weird thing, right? Where like I can remember, I would think that we would get all hyped up, and we would, that energy would then increase itself and build upon itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much of that do you think is the world is so small now that we're seeing the greatest stuff in the world all the time on social media that things in person don't impress us as much?
I don't know. What do you think, Restorative?
I think that's an interesting angle. I think maybe because we're seeing the best of things so often now, and we're seeing these crazy Anthony dunks over the netting and stuff, that we're maybe a little desensitized to how difficult it is to make that behind the back pass or the through the middle pass, the bounce pass. That's just a good bounce pass, but it's a pocket pass, right? That's not an easy thing to do. And I think maybe we're a little desensitized to it because of all the athleticism we do see.
Yeah, and maybe the coaches are not hyped up enough either about it and getting into it as much. It's just weird, and I think it's a trainable thing too. I'm convinced that I'm going to be able to get them to do it and find that joy in the game, playing and seeing their teammates do well, and then that combined. But that takes a lot of work. I'm not sure I can get it done in like once a week either. Like that's the other thing, but. That's the interesting question is can we develop that and not hope it happens, but actually put these players in very specific situations and use language to explain to them how important that is, where they have their arms around each other and they care about each other. I think that's where we're at. They have to care about each other. And again, in the world of shooting 3-point shots, as much as we want to shoot them now, I am convinced it's that energy and that feeling when you make the one and you get that reaction that the next one goes in and then the next one. All I can tell you this is if you make one and the reaction is instead of saying, God, that was great, instead it's I'm going to have to shoot one because I got to prove to everyone else that I can make one too. And then they throw up a terrible one, right? That's what the reaction is sometimes. And that's what you got to be worried about. I experienced that even in pickup because I would, listen, I was a really good shooter. And I would hit like a couple threes, and then I have the idiots on my team, pick up, but they'd start just jacking them up, and I'm like, what are we doing here, right? And it's a natural thing, I guess, but like you have to train that out of them, I suppose.
A lot of unauthorized shots in pickup, that's for sure.
I would be interested to know at your level combo because I'm assuming your pickup games are probably a little bit higher level than most.
Right now, I mean, they're a little bit better, but I used to go to better pickup runs when I was actually playing overseas and off seasons, like at colleges and stuff, but. I think the pickup games I play in now aren't, it's good,
Yeah, I hear it. Well, listen, Restorative, I appreciate you coming on. This was a great conversation. Come on again and next time we do this.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Thanks. This is cool. I really enjoyed it, and certainly the conversation is really good. We got to just sort of figure out how to monitor a little bit better, where this is going out into the to the stream. But well, I'll have to get some information back from the StreamYard people to figure out what's going on. But is there anything else we want to talk about as we wrap up the show, Combo?
No, is there anything we talked about in pre-production that we didn't mention yet? I don't think so.
I
think
mean, we were getting. Oh, you know what? And by the way, now, okay, if I scrolled enough, I would have been able to see that these super chats were in the chat and I could pin them. I couldn't see them before when I scrolled, but I guess I didn't scroll quick enough. But this is cool. If you're watching on YouTube, I can now put all these things up. Maybe I'll scroll down really quickly while we're talking here, and I'll grab another one or just a regular comment, and we can discuss it for a few minutes. Let's see here, because I know we were going to talk about the Memphis a little bit. We touch upon them, but let's see. Anything else? Everyone wants to talk about Russ in the comments. I think we kind of did that. Oh, well, here's one. Martin Jose, thank you so much for that super chat. There's no question attached to it, but at least thank you for being so generous with the super chats. Let's do. I don't want to miss any other ones. I better scroll all the way through. Let's see.
What do you think about Desmond Bain, Coach Nick?
Love him. I just did a video on him too. I guess you didn't see it. Most improved player. Why not? Doubling his scoring output from last year to this year. And he's got the glow, man. He believes he is tough as tough could be. By the way, speaking of centers, he could play center. Honestly, the dude's 6'5" or whatever. But have you seen his shoulders? I think he could play ultra small ball center a little bit when they don't have a Jokic out there or an Embiid. Why not? Let's just see how small we can get.
That means Max Strus could do the same, maybe. He's a big
who's that
kid.
Do I know Max Strus?
Yeah, he had some really good games. I think he got injured recently or something, but he plays for the Heat. He actually started out.
Yeah, I gotta watch more Heat. I haven't watched the Heat as much.
He's 6'5", but over 220. He got really long arms and he could really play. And he's an interesting player. I mean, he is a guard, but it'd be interesting for him to try some of that. And speaking of small ball fives, I think Utah has to try out Rudy Gay at the 5 more, especially as we head towards the playoffs.
Oh, so you're ready to get rid of Gobert, huh?
No, not get rid of him, but you need some new looks for the playoffs,
Yeah, there's something wrong with the team. And it's hard to put your finger on it because it's not necessarily Rudy. I was watching the Warriors-Jazz game, and the Warriors go up by 16, and they're playing him off the floor. They're doing everything they talked about, which hasn't come up as much recently in the last few years, where he gets pulled out and then they get right by him. But that was happening, and they were down by 16. The game was going to be over pretty quick. But then they go on a run on their own, and they completely take over the game with Rudy in there. So there's proof that Rudy can actually have the effect they want him to have, but there's just something fundamentally off that it's gnawing at me. I'm not sure I could even figure it out. Now, Mike Conley, I used to love, and I don't love him anymore on the Utah Jazz for whatever reason, his role and the way he plays. I do love Donovan Mitchell. I think he's the guy that they, need to, and he is the guy. They play him like he's the guy, but I don't know. And when it gets going and when they're pushing the ball and they get some turnovers and all of a sudden Ingles in one corner and Bogdanovich in the other, and they're raining threes down. It looks really impressive, but there's just something that leaves me empty and I can't put my finger on it.
For them to win a championship, they have to stay super healthy, and Mitchell has to play like Bubble Mitchell.
Right. Okay. And that's doable, I think. The healthy part, I don't know. Actually, good question. But and listen, Quinn Snyder is one of the best coaches in the NBA. Doesn't get enough of his due either. The way he communicates, the plays they run, it really is clever, great stuff too. So they have a lot of everything there for them. I just worry that Utah Jazz fans are very fragile, I suppose is the word. They don't like to hear anything about their team that might not be completely positive. So I feel bad because I'm just sensing that we're on another path here of another year of the same thing, and obviously they want to get to the next level, and they're not. But we have another good comment from Martin Jose, who did give us a super chat, and this must be maybe the text he wants later. But let's put it on the screen because I love playing with this new thing where we can actually have the comment. Combo, you can see this right on the screen.
Yes, sir. Can you make me Can you?
Oh, you want to be even? Forgive me.
Yeah.
How about that?
There we go. Now we're
right.
back.
I can do that, but
no, that's too much, Coach.
All right, too much. Not too close. Martin Jose asks, what do you see the Detroit Pistons in the next few years with the young core of Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, and Killian Hayes? Listen, those guys should be really, really, really good. I love Sadiq Bey coming out of college, the way he looked and the way he could shoot. I love Cade Cunningham coming out of college too. He's got that kind of LeBron game, not as physically dominant, but like that size, handles the ball, runs pick and roll, throws dimes, and he can shoot. I think, a little bit better.
Right.
And then Killian Hayes too. I love him. So I think that they're in a good spot. I just feel like there's probably going to be some fundamental changes, like coaching wise. They're going to probably move in other directions sooner than later, and that'll unleash some more stuff for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, Jeremy Grant. It's kind of the same situation with as Eric Gordon. Like, he probably shouldn't be there. He should probably be helping a contending team and allowing these young players to get more reps and to grow. Because I think without Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey could really come into his own, and he has more space to operate. And he's been shooting the ball really well lately. And I think Jeremy wasn't playing a few of those games where Sadiq really broke out. But I love Cade Cunningham game. In a redraft, I would still draft him number 1. But even though I was really high on Scotty Barnes, probably higher than most, and I think him and Evan Mobley are in that Rookie of the Year mix. And Franz Wagner's actually making, he's making a push at Rookie of the Year.
I'm going to do a video on him probably this week or very soon. He's on my list, at the top of the list. So he's got every skill you need in the modern NBA, and he's got some hops, man. I feel like I've seen some dunks from him, right? That have been. Am I crazy? Wait,
no. He's playing really well. He got light feet. He could even guard guards on the perimeter better than I thought. Yeah. And the thing with Killian Hayes, though, I think he does need to improve on the offensive side of the ball. His defense is pretty good, though. But yeah, it's a nice young core, and I think they're going in the right direction. And Cade Cunningham, he has those leadership qualities, man. So he's just a great player to have. Yeah, for sure, Martin. Great question on the Pistons. So keep your eye on them. Maybe I'll do a video on them. It's hard because not a lot of people want to watch the Pistons or like watch a video on the Pistons, unfortunately. But maybe I can come up with a really good title and a good thumbnail, and then people will come to watch. But there is definitely something there, and they should try and keep that together. And just get some more modern stuff going, coaching wise. Well, anyway, I think that'll help. But I'm keeping my finger on that one, and we're gonna definitely see some much better play from them in the next few years. But listen, I think we're getting we passed the hour mark. This went really well. We had a bunch of people come on. We had some super chats that worked, so we could put some things on here. I think this is a really great start to our weekly show going forward. What do you think? Most definitely. Everything feels crystal clear, and I just can't wait on continuing to build this. It's been really fun, Coach Nick. Yeah, for sure. I'm really happy to do this too. So again, every Wednesday right now, the plan will be 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, unless Combo's kid lets us adjust our schedules. We'll figure that out. Baby Combo. You can call him Baby Combo. Baby Combo. All right. Well, listen, if you want a hint from someone else, a coach who's had a kid, a boy who I didn't want to be that guy. So neither of my kids like sports at all. So if you want him to be into basketball, then I would encourage him playing basketball. That's all I'm going to say. Be that guy. I've been encouraging. All right, good to know. Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. Great time, and let's go back to the games tonight. We'll reconvene on the next video. Thank you, Combo, for being here. Thank you, everybody else, for the super chats and being part of the show. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a chattel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo? Coach Nick. I'm in, Coach Nick. Yeah, wait for me to answer the question first. Go ahead, answer it again. Are you in, Combo? I am in, Coach Nick.